Welcome to Real Talk Christian Podcast, where we drink coffee and have real conversations on faith, culture, and society. I'm your host, Chris Fuller.
And I am Timothy, Marc Hyde.
And on today's special Thanksgiving episode... Happy Thanksgiving. We're going to be talking about what does it really mean to take care of the least of these? And not just talking about the poor people, but like the downtrodden. So... I'm looking forward to this conversation. Are you?
I'm ready. I was going to try to make a football joke, and I got nothing. So I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's go.
I fumbled that handoff so bad. I fumbled.
I was getting ready to say,
bad.
You're ready to gobble. And then you were like, well, so you ready? I'm like, okay, well.
We went too fast. But I was trying to make some football joke about Dallas Cowboys or something, and I just drew a blank, guys.
All right. Well,
I drew a
anyways,
complete blank.
You know, today's Thanksgiving, and on our special Thanksgiving episodes, we always try to keep it a little bit shorter so that you don't have to bear to listen to us all day, just part of the day.
Mainly as you're driving between or to your Thanksgiving festivities.
That's right. So today is, it's kind of one of those things that we can be thankful, and it's always good to help other people out and take care of them. But before we do that, we have a few housekeeping things that we need to do.
We're not drinking coffee, guys.
We are not. We're drinking these guava berry.
Dude, these are banging.
Dude, they're so good. They're my favorite.
Dude, these
taste like Skittles,
in the words
man.
of my new favorite Instagrammer, dude, these rip.
Dude.
You know what rips, bro? Is just chilling with your boy in the basement, drinking Waterloos.
Drinking a guava berry.
Very much to be thankful for this. Thank you, Janelle.
Thank you, Janelle. And thank you to all you listeners who've dined with us on your Thanksgiving, year in and year out. I think this is episode 6 or 7.
Because we're in season 7, so therefore
we've done 7.
This is number 7.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of Thanksgiving.
This is almost a Halloween. That was a month ago. My bad. Satan's birthday done come and gone. Right. My kids asked me the other day, Dad, why was Satan born Halloween? I'm like, well, first off, where the heck did you hear that from? That's not true.
We're all done eating this birthday candy.
Oh gosh, but either way, hopefully you're enjoying your turkey and your stuffing and your mashed potatoes and your gravy and your. Was that Christmas or Thanksgiving when you guys do the waffles?
That's Thanksgiving.
That is Thanksgiving. So I hope you guys are enjoying your waffles.
Pumpkin waffles.
And your turkey comas.
That's right.
Enjoying looking through the magazines.
Well, before you drink any more of your guava berry, you want to read this review so we can get jumping right in.
I sure do. And this one was so cool. This has going to be, we have a lot of favorite reviews, but this one was so dang cool where it says it's a new dad, new podcast from Jay Showley. Recently, becoming a new dad has completely restarted my desire to walk more closely with God. Alongside more active prayer and Bible readings, I was looking for a podcast to listen to and from work. Finding a Christian podcast requires the same amount of energy as searching for a new church. Ain't that the truth, bro? I still haven't recovered from Justin Briley not being at Unbelievable, and that's been like 2 years. Gosh, where was I? I'm so grateful that God led me to this podcast, led by two genuine and quote unquote real. What quote unquote, homie? Real Christian talk, men bro. Leading by faith. I am listening from episode 1, dang rewinder, and can't get enough. Thank you both for your faith and your guidance. Well, Jay Showley. Congrats, by the way, becoming a new dad. That's just stinking awesome, my dude.
That's pretty cool,
That's the real gift.
Thanks for the review. And if you haven't left a review I'll head over to Apple Podcast or Spotify. You can leave us a star review, Apple Podcast or iTunes, whatever you.
And I haven't even checked in a while. I know we're at 300-something reviews on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, I don't know. We're on Spotify.
I haven't looked at it.
I looked on YouTube. We're over like 1,520 subscribers on YouTube. So that's pretty dang good. But if you haven't already, leave us a review, or you can actually go to YouTube.
1,700 ratings on Spotify.
Nice. You can actually go to YouTube and leave comments for us.
And see our faces.
And see us.
We're doing different camera. It's kind of green. It's kind of purpley, but
it's all right. Is
this the camera that you bought for like your
this is
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, this is for my Lord of the Rings games. But this keeps you from being so ghostly white nobody can see you. So
true.
You know,
your boy be pasty.
And it tones me down from my Donald Trump orangeness.
Listen, it's going to be a beautiful camera. It's going to be a great camera. Along with this great podcast, it's the most beautiful. It's going to be the best podcast ever. I do a lot of podcasts. And because I do a lot of podcasts, I know what podcasts take. And some people think their podcasts are a little bit better than us. And some of our great generals here have recommended that we use destruction methods to those other podcasts. But we're going to forgo that. We're going to just build back Real Talk Christian Podcast and make it greater again.
That was incredible, my guy. That was insanely incredible.
That's my Donald Trump impersonation right there.
Oh, gosh. All right, well, let's get into this Thanksgiving episode because we got to let these people get back to their turkey.
So, today's kind of concept came from, we've done a lot of different episodes. We've been like, how to be thankful, like what's it mean to be thankful, the 10 things that you should do, Black Friday, should we do it or not? You know, should we celebrate Thanksgiving or not?
We had a Friendsgiving one, like, was that last year or was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, where we just hung out. We just hung out with you guys, and we did that whole thing, but, and we learned about people's traditions and stuff like that, and that was a lot of fun.
That was cool.
Today, it's like, well, we've talked a lot about what we could be thankful for, but how can we help those in need to create more thankful hearts?
Instead of looking inwards, looking outwards. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's just like a nice little spin. Thank you, Janelle. She's the one that was like, hey. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of thinking this way. She's like, you should call it like the least of these. And I'm like, ooh, I like it.
What I wish we had was some cookies or something for this episode, but Janelle didn't bake them, so I don't know what
she's upstairs making pumpkin waffles. No, she's not. Oh, look, she's texting me. She must have just got home. So
can you tell her to go get cookies before she comes home?
Janelle, can we get some cookies?
Please.
Or at least some like ice cream or something.
Ooh, dairy-free, please.
Anyways, all right. So often the Bible talks about God's care for the poor, the hurting, the brokenhearted. God's people are meant to reflect his heart of compassion. Taking care of those in need isn't just like charity, but it's actually a form of worship, which we've talked about this before, right? Yep. Being a cheerful giver and tithing, and it's more than just money. It could be time, it could be other things and all this, but it's an act of worship towards God. But it's not just about looking to worship God. It's also helping others and helping those that were made in his image and sometimes our brothers and sisters in Christ. Mm-hmm. Everywhere we look, there are people who are struggling either financially or physically or emotionally, and God's heart has always been for those in needs. And as a follower of Christ, we're called not to just believe the right things, but to actually live them out in love, be the hands and feet of the Lord Jesus Christ, right? And as we say this all the time, that's our calling ultimately, is not just to say we have faith, but to have faith, and out of that inward faith comes action, right? So it's a reaction to the change in us creates the action, is what I like to say. Mm-hmm. So, I like that. But before we get too deep into all this and really get into a lot of some more of discussion questions, let's look at some stats.
Oh, we bringing stats back,
I did this
baby.
just for you, bro.
I love it.
You brought stats on Halloween. I bring it on Thanksgiving.
On Thanksgiving.
So according to World Vision in 2024, over 9% of the world's population still lives in extreme poverty. And like extreme poverty means 9%. Like 9%, over 9%.
Holy crap.
That's a lot. That's a lot of people when it's billions and billions of people. You know what I mean?
That's a lot.
Right.
And I have a feeling a lot of those are in the same concentrated areas too. Like
probably. So that's an extreme number. But Mental Health America reports that more than 20% of U.S. adults experience mental illness each year. And 1 in 6 youth ages 6 to 17 face a mental health disorder.
Yeah, so again...
So we see poverty. Now we're seeing
physical struggles, mental struggles.
Right. And then nearly half of single mothers in the United States live at or below the poverty line, according to the U.S. Census Bureau in 2024.
That one, we going to have to talk about next episode.
That one hits a little home, don't it?
Yes, it does. Because
your
raised
wife,
by one.
Well, you were raised by one, and you married one. Well, and it wasn't like she was single. She was single by choice, but it wasn't like she was made single. She was single and then decided to have children.
But money-wise, she technically was, I think, below the poverty line.
Sure.
But yeah, so we're looking at these things, and so basically what these stats are showing is that there are people all around us suffering in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, the need is everywhere, and the church has to be within God's plan to meet this. And we've talked about this many times, right? About how often the church has led, creating hospitals and the schools and taking care of a lot of this stuff. But even more so today, I think Christians tend to forget about the real reason why we need to help those, because God has helped us and we should help others and show that love to God. So let's see what the Bible says on how we should handle some of these issues. So James chapter 2, verses 14 through 17, this is where we say faith in action, right? This is where that whole thing comes from. It says, what good is it, my brothers and sisters, this is CSB, if someone claims to have faith but does not have works? Can such faith save him? If a brother or sister is without clothes and lacks daily food, and one of them says, and one of you says to them, go in peace, stay warm, and be well fed, but you don't give them what their body needs, what good is it then? In the same way, faith, if it does not have works, is dead by itself. Real faith moves us to real action, is what I would say.
Yeah, and the episode I was looking for was one a couple years ago, last year, from episode 238, Love for Others, which is a sign of a mature Christian.
That whole series that we did.
Yeah, and that's what popped in my head, because I'm like, a lot of times this is a sign of maturity, and like even James talked about he who controls his tongue is truly religious, and so how we control our bodies is what really separates, I would say, just a cultural Christian versus someone who actually walks in the way of Jesus.
Yeah. So, jumping into the next scripture, Proverbs 19:17 says, kindness to the poor is a loan to the Lord, and he will give a reward to the lender, which I thought was a very interesting scripture.
That's a really interesting one.
So when we help the needy, we are actually giving to God himself. It's our way of giving what God has given to us. God has given us talent or gifts or money or, success or whatever it is, but it's our way of giving the Lord back what he has already given to us. It's our way of what we talked about before, tithing, right? We are tithing our time. We are tithing our kindness. We are tithing in such a way that the Lord has tithed to us and his mercy and his grace that he has given to us. So Matthew chapter 25, verse 35 through 40 says, for I was hungry and this is the big one, right? This is for the least.
One I was waiting for.
These are for the least of these right here, brother. So it says, for I was hungry, because, the whole story goes, well, they were asking, well, who was my brother? Who was my sister, that I did not feed? And he said, for I was hungry and you gave me, it says, it was me, I was amongst you. For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you took care of me. I was in prison and you visited me. Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of these, the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. So serving others is serving, again, this big theme of we're tithing, we're serving God, we're being what we call the hands and feet of Jesus.
And I'm trying to remember, this came right after the parable of the talents, too.
It did, and if you think about this,
I'm like, this was a reading that I just did for RTC.
This is tied right into the Olivet Discourse. So this is talk about when Christ talks about the end of the age and all that. That's what I thought. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
And then into 25, he's talking about the heavenly things. Then he's talking about the talents, and then he rolls right into this. So it's like, these things are going to happen, but we have work to do here. You have to take care of your brothers and sisters here. Like, when those hard times come, what are you going to do? Are you going to cower away? Are you going to ignore your brothers and sisters that are going through hard times? You're going to take care of them. So it was that call to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked. It was that call that Jesus was teaching his disciples during that time. So our next one is, Isaiah chapter 58, 6 through 10. It says, isn't this the fast I chose, to break the chains of wickedness, to untie the ropes of the yoke, to set the oppressed free, and to tear off every yoke? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry, to bring the poor and homeless into your house, to clothe the naked when you see him, and not to ignore your own flesh and blood? Then the light will appear like the dawn, and your recovery will come quickly. Your righteousness will go before you, and the Lord's glory will be your rear guard. So I put this in here because it sounds like Jesus was almost quoting Isaiah, right? When you read what he said up in Matthew 25 and what we see here, it's almost like a direct quote, and it's showing that true worship of Christ. It's and how these types of things like fasting but all these things could lead to compassion and justice, and us looking out for those in need who may need to be defended, or those who need compassion. So it's more than just feeding or clothing. It's taking care of mentally, physically, emotionally. In a justice standpoint, we see that there are those in need, and that we're called to help in those situations. And then the last one is Galatians chapter 6, verses 9 through 10. It says, let us not get tired of doing good, for we will reap at the proper time if we don't give up. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let's work for the good of all, especially those who belong to the household of faith. We are called not to grow weary in doing good. So basically, we're going to start with our church, right? We could start right now with our church family and those in need we see around us and start building them up. So I'll give you an example. One you well know. When you were going through your ex-wife's affair and the divorce and all that, and you were downtrodden and discouraged, you had many brothers that came around you and surrounded you, and we didn't give you physical money, but we emotionally supported you. We emotionally were taking care of you. We were spiritually trying to take care of you. When I was going through all of my medical stuff, I mean, you were a huge help to me in my spiritual life and spiritually picking me up. And that was, the household of faith does that for each other. But then also, you help missionaries. You and Beth and the Hyde family, you guys reach out and you give. And so you're helping promote the gospel, right? And helping the needy and helping that message get out. And then everything else that you guys do of hey, Beth took on the least of these, right? She literally
the girls are listening right now. We're not saying you the least, but
no. But the least of these
kids found in foster care.
Those who were in foster care, she brought into her house and adopted. And then you met her and said, "Listen, I'm going to throw my cloak of covering over all of you and take you into my house, and I'm going to be your protector and your provider and the one that takes care of you emotionally and physically and spiritually." And you've done that, so you've taken care of the least of these. So I throughout Scripture, we see this. We see us being the hands and feet of Jesus. But when you think of people who are in need, like what comes to mind, right? So we've gone through some things, but what comes to your mind, Mark, when I talk about those in need or the least of these? We talked a little bit about foster care. We've talked about maybe some emotional hurt, some spiritual hurt. What other kinds of things can you think of?
I was going to say, this is honestly where I struggle. And I can hear my my own mental kickback and other people too, where you think of a lot of homeless people that are on the street, don't have houses, don't have food, don't have whatever. Like we live in a very unique culture where the government actually does help we're not trying to get partisan here, but sure. It is what it is. There are homeless shelters. There are different stipends, food stamps, all those different things that really do take care of the least of these, rather than a government, which was the way history has always been. Right. Up until, for some reason, Christians infiltrating a government, is that the least of these were always the ones that were kicked to the curb and never taken care of. Yeah. And so when you look around, I struggle with having the honest to goodness question of who really needs help versus who doesn't. And so I'm saying, when I think of who are in need, I struggle to answer that question. And so, I took my teenagers to homeless shelters, and we did food pantries things. We did things like that. The biggest one, though, that really comes to mind right off the bat, though, are the people that really do want help, but they either don't know how to get it or they're too scared to ask for it. And like I think of, who was the interview that we had? Was it with Let Them Live, right? I'm blanking on what her first name is. It's not Sarah.
No, that's the one that put us in contact. Oh my goodness.
I'm blanking. Emily.
I am too. Emily.
Emily. And so Emily. And so like these moms who, well, they're pregnant and they're like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know where to turn. I need help. Right. And the church goes, we got you. Or like when we had Andrew Wood on the podcast and we asked him those point blank questions of people accuse Christians of not helping this and not helping that. And he just stat the tar out of the thing, where we really are stepping up and taking care of foster kids and taking care of people who can't do anything in and of themselves. And so for me, the first thing that comes to mind is, for my kids in particular, is if I focus, and this has been a real challenge for me, is if I focus on everything out there that looks good, makes me feel good, and I struggle, I'm neglecting the kids who I did bring into my house. And so it sounds selfish for me to say, who are the people that are in need? Well, it's my kids who really were foster kids, addicted to drugs, didn't have a choice, or stuck in that matter. But the other people who are in need are the people that I think are just trying to walk through life, and they put on a really good front. They fake it, and they're trying to make it, but they really can't. But on the inside, they're like emotionally dying. Yeah, on the inside, and those are the ones that are really hard to know who they really are, because you walk into church and how you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing good. And on the inside, it's like they're dying. Right. And so when I first think of those who are in need, there's that. But we can't ignore what Scripture says of there are poor people out there, and so. I think that's why Christians do a lot of great humanitarian work overseas with digging wells, and like our friends, Little Neighbors of Paraguay, where they are actually helping kids They help legalize adoption, which was not a thing, and we still support them.
Yep.
And I think of the Frerichs that are down in Peru, and we might just be thinking, oh, they're just playing soccer or whatnot. But he's actually helping these kids get out of poverty because of soccer, which I think is nuts. It really is nuts of people who are going to people who really they just need a little boost up, and I feel like it's so hard though in our bipartisan culture in America, where everything is us versus them, and how do we find a different way to actually love people when the road's not as simple. I feel like the road is not as simple, and maybe it's just us overcomplicating it. I don't know.
Yeah, when I think of who is those in need or who's the least of these, what comes to mind is so there's a person that Janelle and I knows who is a single mom of 4 boys by herself, and thinking about those boys and not having a good godly influence of a father, and how that's going to drastically possibly affect their future as men, right? Of not seeing their own father. I mean, they have their grandfather, and they see their grandfather, and he's a good godly man.
But it's also hard when because I know the single mom's got to work,
right?
Mama's got to work,
right? So I mean, again, it brings me back to Beth, and when she was a single mom and trying to take care of the kids, and the kids. They I want to say suffer, but they do suffer because they don't have that influence of both a godly mom and dad, and seeing how a marriage works good together, and it's just not possible for everybody, right? But having that experience for some reason, I feel like they are not missing out, but they are in more need of the church to surround them, to love on them, to care for them, to care for the mom, to help the mom, just like Beth's church family did when she was in Tennessee, and how they gathered around her, and how they were really helping her during that time. And to me, it's like, okay, they may be financially okay, but maybe they're mentally at their wits' end because their kids have just been crazy, and they need a time away to themselves, or whatever, just to take a break.
Well, even we're hitting back on a lot of our past episodes with interviews. We had who was the advocate for caretakers? I can picture her face.
Caretakers.
Her husband died, and her now wife died. Beth, is her name Beth too?
No, it's Jessica.
But she started an entire ministry to help moms who are taking care of special needs kids. Not just special needs, but hardcore special needs caregivers.
I remember the name of her book was The Burning Light.
Yep.
It's Jessica.
You have one.
Jessica,
you have it.
Yeah, it's Jessica something.
Yeah, and they're up in Michigan. And so, she was she used her own struggle to be there's a lot of moms and caretakers out there that literally they give their entire lives to taking care of their children, and it becomes their entire identity, and that's not what it's supposed to be about. And this is maybe the conversation that we need to have today is, has the church, and I think about this about my own church too, to be honest with you, is, are we almost too clean and polished where we're scared to get a little dirty? We're scared to get a little dirty.
Yeah.
And I think of Beth's church, where they were a naturally raw church. They intentionally, as a church, said, we will never own a building. We are always going to rent here at the Boys and Girls Club because this is our ministry. We're going to bless the Boys and Girls Club. Yeah. We're going to keep the building looking good for them. We're going to treat this like our own building. We're going to help them clean it. We're going to help. If they need volunteers, they're calling us first.
Yeah.
And so they had a very big ministry with that. And because of it, they had a foster trailer. They had, very fast deacon response. Their deacons were you need something, you call the deacons. And in fact, one deacon got mad at Beth because she didn't call him.
That's faith in action, though, right? That's faith in action.
And
they do it not because they have to, but because they love to do it. They love to serve people.
And Whitestone Church, if you're down in Knoxville, Tennessee, check it out. Whitestone Church. They actually have the "we will" statements, and one of them says we won't just send our money, but we will send ourselves.
Yeah.
Which I think is a baller statement for Christians to have.
And another thing that people think about of the least of these, or the need, those in need, are brand new baby Christians. Discipleship.
Yep.
They are in a new faith, trying to find God and learn his ways. They're in need. Now, we tend to forget that, and that maybe that's not as much of an emergency, like, oh my goodness, like they don't have food or they don't have clothes. But it is another need that they are in to have somebody to take them under their wing and to do discipleship with them and teach them the scriptures and not leave them out there on their own. Because when you put a baby Christian out there in the fringes, they tend to get lost. And when they get lost, they tend to fall out.
Well, and this is where okay. So oh gosh, I don't want to go too deep in the weeds because you see the parable of the soil, and it's talking about making sure that our soil is ripe.
Sure.
But at the same time, we are called to come alongside early Christians as well. And baby Christians they gonna stumble, they're gonna fall. But for a baby Christian, a lot of times we look at people, it's like, yeah, you screwed up. You must not really love Jesus. Yeah. Whereas for a baby, the one time they actually take a real step rather than crawl, we're like, yeah, you took 3 steps. Yeah. Let's go. Like, where's that?
So I look at the parable of the sower and the seeds, and part of it is Jesus is talking about the heart, but I look at it as once they become saved, right? Once they accept Christ, now we have to teach them what good soil is, how to plant their seeds. Otherwise, they may throw their seeds into rocky ground, into the ground that is not well tilled and has the nutrients that what they're planting needs in order to take deep roots to be able to sustain and weather those harsh storms.
And what's that passage from Paul, where Paul planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase?
Absolutely.
And so there are different roles in other Christian faith. That's true. But when we think about the least of these with Thanksgiving, a lot of the verses we talked about is taking care of the poor.
Right.
And so here's a question that maybe we have to come back to in a different episode. A lot of times we think about those who are poor, specifically in America.
Sure.
And we look at folks who are poor, and whether you're right wing, left wing, conservative, liberal,
you're geared up for the next episode, ain't you?
we gonna have a good one. Is how do we balance that between America is very much a personal responsibility. You got to pick yourself up by your bootstraps. You got to, if you want, you got to get after it. But then there's the real reality of the cycle of poverty is vicious, and then we want to make sure we help those. But then there's the other people who are like, but I'm not just going to give them money because that's not how them do nothing. Like, how do you balance that between, especially in America? Now, other countries are very different. But in America, if you want help, you can go get help.
Sure.
You just have to, which I've never been there, so I'm not about to say, why can't you just suck it up and do it? I've never been in this situation because I've heard stories. But how do you come alongside folks to love on them and love them through their pain, knowing that maybe they don't want the help. They want to be on the street. They want the handout. They, people who like there's this whole thing with the government shutdown. It's still happening. I just looked it up. They're going into the weekend, and it's going to be another week.
22 days.
Shutdown.
22 days of shutdown.
And people are like, they're like, yo, if I ain't getting my EBT, I'm just going to go watch that Walmart. I'm going to eat. My kid's going to eat. And I'm like, there's a lot of folks who are becoming literally enslaved to government handouts. And that's where a lot of folks like us who are conservative go, see, these are the people that we can't help because they just want.
But not even that, though, bro. And not to get too thick in the weeds with this, but what about all the government employees? Like, I think about our friend who we used to play his music on the podcast all the time, Paul Lindgren, right? He's a federal employee.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
He's a nurse for the VA.
I didn't know that.
So
how's he getting paid?
Right. That's the thing.
Because he still has to go to work, right?
Right. Yeah. So and then what about all the government employees that have been furloughed now? What are they going to do? Right. So they are trying, right? They're out there, but now they're into that role of we're in need, but we're going to get back pay when the government starts back up. But what do we do right now?
Yep.
And that's where the church goes, hey, how can we come alongside you right now? Like, we know you're going to get back paid. You're going to be all right eventually, but how can we come outside you right now to take care of your immediate needs right today?
And so maybe should we just jump into that? Like, what can we do to really just love the least of these?
Yeah, I mean,
I know we got to wind this thing down.
So there's quite a few things that we can do. Part of it, and I'll just, we really only went into like one question, and there's so much more here, and I didn't think we were going to spend
the weeds. I'm sorry.
It's fine. But things we can start doing. We can pray for someone in need, right? That's the easiest form, and it takes a little bit of time, right? So maybe it's not tangible, but again, there's many different types of needs. There's the spiritual needs. There's the emotional needs. There's the mental needs, and all this could sometimes require prayer. So we can find somebody that, and that's easiest thing. Hey, brother, how can I pray for you today? One of the easiest questions, and it could be somebody in church, one of your coworkers, somebody that's a friend. Maybe you see them struggling and you go, hey, I'd like to pray for you. What can I pray for you about? And that's one way we can start taking care of some of those needs. Another way we can provide something tangible like food or time or encouragement, something that is actually worth something maybe to that person. Like maybe it's not coming up and praying for you. Maybe it's not coming up and giving you advice. Maybe it's just being there for you. Maybe you're going through a hard time and it's just like, man, I'm just here. I'm just here, bro. Cry on my shoulder. Say what you need to say. Get it all off. I'm here to help you bear that burden.
And even something tangible. Like I remember there was one time where, the first house I ever bought, the roof was falling apart. The gutters were falling apart. And I can guess who it was, but I don't know. But someone handed Scott a check and said, cash this for the church and have the church cut a check so that way it stays completely anonymous.
Right.
And so someone saw my need.
Right.
And they paid for everything.
Well, it's just, again, so when I had my heart...
See a need, fill a need.
When I had my heart issues and I had my bum knee and all that stuff back in 2021.
He was going through it, homie.
Right after we bought this house. And we had to finish this house. It was coming up on... And we moved in like the week before Thanksgiving because I was laid up. And Pastor Scott and others and Pastor Brandon and others came over and gave me their time to help finish my house. I mean, not just one night, but multiple nights came over. It wasn't just it was like, I think they gave up like 5 or 6 nights throughout the weeks to come over and help me finish my flooring and get the washer and dryer and the island in and get everything set so that we could move in. And then they helped me move in, including you. Everybody jumped in and helped us move.
Because why wouldn't I?
Because there was a need, and it was like, you got a need, I'm going to help you, brother. Yep. So we can do stuff like that. That's providing something more, I would say, tangible, right? So money like for a roof or like. Last week, my in-laws, they're older, and they needed help putting in a pressure tank. Their pressure tank was going out, and so Janelle and I went over there, and we started taking care of some of those needs for them. And it's not that they were poor or couldn't afford anything. They just needed help getting stuff installed, and that was just providing time because we love them and we want to help serve them.
Question, what's a pressure tank?
That's for wells, like the big blue tanks.
Oh, you had to replace the bladder.
Yeah, the bladder tank.
Dang.
They call it pressure tanks.
Sorry, mine's a bladder because I have a little one. I don't have a pressure tank.
It is a pressure tank. It's still a pressure tank.
Whatever. I'm like, the water heater? Oh, I got you. But yeah, you say, but sometimes, and I mean, I had to help go take care of an older lady across the street with her plumbing because she had some issues.
I mean, that's, sometimes it's just a little stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So another thing we can do is we can partner with a local ministry or outreach, right? And so this is where you're like, you go to the homeless shelter, help out, or maybe a church, or you find something that you can partner with. I know for a while we were going to Southfield Village, which is a retirement community, and we were going there on Sundays and just bringing the word of God, right? So we were partnering with the minister there, and we were just coming in as needed and helping fill in for services. So that was something we were able to partner with.
And there's a lot of ministries who need that, even just money donations. I think of like Hope Ministries in South Bend. There's a big one up in Battle Creek, which that's how we got connected to Zach. Yep. I still manage their website. It's a lot of fun.
Sure.
But I know for them, they're struggling because of the cutbacks to the budget. They're financially struggling. And so there are a lot of good ministries that are helping people get off the street that could just need help. And not even just money. They're like, we need volunteers.
Yeah, and so if you don't know, like, hey, I don't know what to do. I mean, you could find one of these ministries and be like, hey, how can I help? What do you need?
That's the best question. How can I help? And some people might just say, hey, yo, we just need money. We need time.
And maybe you don't have money, but maybe you have skills that you can present to them. Say, hey, I don't have money to give, but I can do other things. These are what I'm skilled at. And maybe they'll use one of those things, those talents that you have.
Different talents, yeah.
Right. So there's those things we do. And then the last thing we can do is we can be present, right? Sometimes the best thing is to be there to listen and to care, right?
I like it.
And that's one of those things that, like, I know people have like nursing home ministries, and that's what they do, or
prison. I know people who do prison ministries.
Prison ministries. There's people that just literally go up to hospitals and walk around, and they're like, "Hey, these are the list, and we're going to go pray for these people." That's the hospital ministries and stuff, and that's all they do. They're there for a listening ear, to talk to people, to pray with them, whatever their needs are.
And there's different seasons, but that's not an excuse to not do something.
Sure.
Like I think of my family, right? So I have 8 kids.
Yep.
5 of them literally were the least of these that we welcomed in. Lennox has his heart issues. Ellie and Evie, if y'all listening, love you guys. Love all the kids. Love all you little peoples. But, they're in a split home situation, so they're back and forth. And so if I was to look and go, okay, I can give my time, that's me neglecting the kids that really need me to go out and do it. So there are different seasons, but I look at my mom, who now she has time to go do stuff, and she does go and
she
serve.
does all sorts of serving.
All sorts of serving. But what can Beth and I do? Well, we do give our time in some regards, and we give our brain in other regards, but we try to financially support as much as we can. I mean, we ain't rolling in the dough by any stretch of the imagination, but
much has been given to us, so we should be willing to give much, right?
Yeah.
And whatever that looks like for you in your situation, that's what you should do.
And there's so many different ways, man. Like even down to if you look at your church and you're like, our community needs some help. The local food pantry are always looking for point spots. So say, hey, can we partner with the food pantry to open this up once a month,
right?
Twice a month, and then we run it.
Maybe you have an elderly neighbor that needs their it's fall, so maybe they need their lawn raked.
Service.
Maybe you just go over there
service.
Right. So
that's just it. Yeah.
So to wind this all down right
now. Wind it down, homie, because we're
to
at 36 minutes.
Yeah, I know. To land the plane, I want to leave the people with a Bible warning and a call to action.
A Bible warning.
A Bible warning and a call to action.
Happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
1 John chapter 3, verses 17 and 18 says, if anyone has this world's goods and sees a fellow believer in need but withholds compassion from him, how does God's love reside in him? Little children, let us not love in word or speech, but in action and in truth.
Time for Fun Facts with Filler.
All right, my dude. The people have been wanting it. We're finally back. Side note, the last week, I'm not sure if you listened to it yet, the AI episode, I did a fun fact on behalf of you.
Oh, nice.
So you have to go back and listen to that one.
I will.
I did one for you, but dude, I just read it. I did not know this one.
I know.
So I'm excited about this.
Do you listeners know the gas station, the Shell gas stations, and they have repair shops, the Shell garages, right? Did you know there's only actually one Shell garage actually shaped like a shell?
What?
There was actually 8 built in 1930, but only one remains in North Carolina.
I did not know that.
It's a fun fact.
I'm gonna look this up after we're done with this episode because that's just nuts. But you know what else is nuts?
What's that?
That there are people who listen to this show week in, week out, every other week in, every other week out, and have still not joined the online Facebook community. Now I know some of y'all are introverted, but this is the best way to introvertedly come in. Ain't nobody know you're there, and then you can just stalk people.
Why don't you stop what you're doing right now?
Ooh, unless you're driving, keep driving. Don't get in an accident.
Don't do that. But when you stop. If you're driving, next time you stop, do this. Go to Facebook, Real Talk Christian Podcast Community.
Yep.
Join.
Yes.
Answer the little questions. Join. You pretty much, as long as you answer the questions, you pretty much are in.
Yep.
Post your Thanksgiving dinner.
Like the picture of it?
Post a picture.
Post it before, after, and then post yourself in your coma.
No, you don't have to.
On the bed.
Just do us a little foodie plate there.
A little foodie plate.
That's
I got to remember to make sure I do my foodie plate. I don't know what we're doing for Thanksgiving this year because the way the house closing situation is looking, we might be closing on Thanksgiving.
I'm working midnights on Thanksgiving.
Oh, are you really? So we might have to do a post follow-up for our Thanksgiving dinners, my friend.
Maybe your Thanksgiving dinner is just going to be like, hey, look, guys, it's Chick-fil-A.
Well, hey, if you guys are pulling into your in-laws or your parents, wherever you're having Thanksgiving, we want to say Happy Thanksgiving. We are so thankful for you guys. We love you, and until next time.
Take it easy.